Make-it-yourselfers and carnivores. Today I want to talk a little bit about different things that you can use for snacking on the carnivore diet. Now this can be used for snacking at home, but I also wanted to find some convenient options for sometimes, when you're going out of the house and you just need to have something on the go. I started working on this post almost a year ago, to be honest. This was something I was working on before going on our cruise. We were going to have to take quite a bit of a long trip to be able to get to our cruise. We live in Spain. We are going to have to drive to Valencia. From there, we are flying into Venice. And then we had to drive all the way to Trieste. It was flooded that day, and we got stuck in this crowded room for several hours, I believe, before they even let us board. And we actually ended up missing lunch. So I was glad to have some snacks. They came in even handier on the way home. We're going to be flying home in the evening from Marseille, France. And we couldn't find an earlier flight. And of course, we got kicked off the ship early in the day. We're kind of roaming around Marseille, but I was really happy that I had planned ahead and brought some of my snacks. So let me tell you about what snacks I brought. Sorry, I did not publish this until now. After the cruise, I think I was on a mission to try to lose the weight that I had put on from the cruise, and I think I went into too much fasting, too little eating mode. I was getting a lot of oxalate dumping cycles. I was tired a lot, and I kept telling myself I need to focus on healing and not working on these posts. And these things are enjoyable to me as long as I'm not so exhausted that I can't do anything at all. So I just recorded another video that I should be posting relatively soon about what I'm trying now, and I have increased my calorie consumption and I have so much more energy. I feel so much better, and we will see what happens, but it is giving me this new energy to come back and get some of these older posts out. So with all of that, sorry for the long introduction, but I'm just so excited to be back and I just want to chat with you. Let's get into some of my top options for snacks, and especially portable snacks. My favorite option is meat chips, and I have a post, I also have a video on how to make meat chips. Basically, what you do is you slice up meat very finely and you dehydrate it. And what just makes them all the more delicious is if you add a little bit of smoked salt to it. Just gives them great flavor and just wonderful. Now, if you don't have them well sealed, they can get soggy and they can lose that wonderful freshness that they have, and it makes them so appealing. So what I did for traveling is I vacuum sealed my meat chips in plastic bags. I don't love plastic, but for traveling it is the most convenient. And so that's what I did. And they kept so well throughout the whole cruise, and I was fine on the way home. We were in Marseille and I was snacking on those meat chips, and I was so happy that I had them with me. Another of my favorite things is pemmican. I also have a post and video about how to make your own pemmican. Now, pemmican is a survival food. It comes from the American Indians, and it is one of these foods that they use to preserve meats and foods for when they would need them. A lot of people don't like pemmican. They find it bland. In fact, some people like to add dried fruits like dried cranberries to theirs. I am strangely addicted to it. I love it. This is basically a homemade version of a carnivore bar. I've seen that there are now companies that offer carnivore bars for sale. Here in Spain, I have not been able to get that sort of thing, but for me, that's fine because they're quite expensive and I don't mind making pemmican myself. When we were getting all of these warnings about there would possibly be shortages of food here in Europe towards the end of the COVID years, I was making lots of pemmican. This was before I started on the carnivore diet. And in fact, I was drying, dehydrating a lot of my zucchini and things from my garden. I was growing things at home. I was thinking it's too bad that we can't just sustain our bodies on just meat alone, which is what brought me to the carnivore diet in the first place. After a lot more study, I realized that we could. I would buy these inexpensive beef fillets and I would make my own tallow, or you can also buy tallow, and I would cut the meat as thinly as possible, dehydrate it, and then grind it up. And then you can make these bars with tallow. They're delicious. I have recipes for both the meat chips and the pemmican on my blog, and I also have videos that I can link to below. Okay, so what else can you use? Now, a lot of people love beef jerky, especially those who can tolerate the different spices and maybe soy sauce or even sugars that are in beef jerky. So that is one thing to keep in mind. Beef jerky is more of a ketovore option. It does have other spices, it does have other things. So you want to keep that in mind. And especially if you are susceptible to having issues with a lot of spices or flavorings, beef jerky might not be the best option for you. But if you don't have issues, definitely, if you love beef jerky, try to look for the cleanest option you can find, but it's also a great option. Similar to beef jerky are the cured meats. And here in Spain, the Serrano ham is very popular. It's like a prosciutto. It's a cured ham, like some of the country hams. And we eat it just like that, cured, raw. It's delicious. I love it. It doesn't keep as well as some of the other options, although if you do vacuum seal it, you could have some Serrano ham that you could take with you somewhere. It's a good option for a day, maybe not for a long trip like when I went on my cruise. Other options are sausages and that sort of thing, like chorizo. It's a cured sausage. And I, on my blog, actually have a recipe for how to make and cure your own chorizo, the Spanish version. Here, the Spanish version uses pork. A lot of the Mexican chorizo uses beef, I believe, and they use some other meats. The Spanish version has the smoked paprika, pimentón de la vera, and that gives it its characteristic smoky flavor. It's also cured. You can buy Spanish chorizos that are meant for the barbecue that are not the cured ones, but the ones that you want for travel are the cured chorizos and other sausages. Here we have salchichon, fuet, sobrasada, and a lot of these things keep really well even out of the fridge. So those are another great option for travel as long as you can handle the spices and whatever additives are in these cured sausages and other meats. Another very popular food with the carnivores, of course, is bacon. And bacon, while it won't keep indefinitely, of course, if you cook it very crisply, it does keep quite well. So it's not a problem to make yourself some bacon as long as it's well cooked and nice and crispy, and eat that throughout the day. It might not be a great option if you're not going to be able to stick it in the fridge and you're going to be gone for several days, then maybe that's not your best choice, but it is something that you can consider bringing with you. Other great options include hard-boiled eggs. I wish I loved hard-boiled eggs, but I hate them. Absolutely despise them. When I got my hens probably about a decade ago, I was scared of birds and I did not like eggs. That is true. I made my husband touch them, take them out, and he wasn't really on board on this. This was me who wanted the hens. This is one of my crazy experiments or whatever, one of the things that I try, and I'm so glad I got them. I love them now. I love holding them. I love playing with them. I love their eggs, but I'm very particular how I eat my eggs. I will eat them even raw in smoothies and that sort of thing. I will eat them omelet style. I love making eggs into wraps that I can use for other stuff, but I hate hard-boiled eggs. I can't even stand the smell. I won't touch anything that has any sort of hard-boiled egg on it. But I think they are the perfect snack, take-along food. I wish I loved them. If you're going to be away from the fridge, again, you don't want to be several days with hard-boiled eggs, but it's a great snack for that day. For travel, canned tuna and canned sardines. I personally don't love canned tuna or sardines. I will eat them if I don't have other stuff, but what I do love is anchovies. And I also make my own salt-cured anchovies. Again, my husband is a fisherman, and while he does not fish the anchovies or sardines or any of those himself, he's further out into the water, and he is a red prawn fisherman. He knows a lot of other fishermen, so we can get a hold of really fresh fish. And I like being able to make the salt-cured anchovies myself. So for people who are interested, I do have a post about how to cure your own anchovies on the blog. That's something that you can open at the moment, and you don't need refrigeration. So if you're going to be gone several days, it's a good thing to have, stock up on, and have for when you need it. And then there's some of the other things like smoked fish, like smoked salmon. I will only touch the smoked wild salmon. I refuse to eat farmed fish, but I have used that too. It's a good snack for at home when you could keep it in the fridge. I don't know how well that keeps and how long you'd be able to keep it outside of the fridge, but it's a great snack for me here at home. And then maybe the most commonly known snack in the carnivore world that a lot of people love are pork rinds or chicharrones or any sort of fat, crisp, or even you can take the chicken skins and make a sort of chip out of those. You broil those, anything like that, where you take either fat or skin and just put it in the air fryer or fry it in some lard or tallow. Those are great for snacking on. They keep really well once you've basically just left the crispy part. I would love to hear your ideas and what you choose for snacks, and I really hope that this was helpful for you. So with that, until next time.